What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a great weekend. Today, I want to talk a little bit about Pokemon Center ETBs and whether or not they're still viable, at least a couple of them. And then we're also going to talk about special illustration rares. I did the update in the spreadsheet today, so if you're in there, you can go check out all the data. There are a couple things I want to talk about in the top 20, and then some of the cards outside the top 20 that I also want to cover that are moving up. So starting off, 151 PCTBs. Now, these are very expensive. They're around $950 approximately. There's still a decent amount listed below like 1100 on eBay. The most recent sale on TCG Player is actually $900. We did have one sale at 800, but this apparently has a small tear in it. So the last minty box was around 900-ish bucks. But with all that said, even looking at the other PCTBs, 151 I think is one of the boxes right now that still could move the most in the short term. It could get to $1,000 by the end of the year. They're still selling at a fairly respectable rate, about 1.8 per day. Buy it now in North America. That's excluding auctions and other parts of the world, which is very strong for a box that's, again, almost in the 4 digits. Now, another box that I think is set to make a move sooner rather than later is the Prismatic PCTB. This is sitting around $410 currently. And this box, I believe, is selling better than every other PCTB currently. I didn't track Black Bolt or White Flare this month, but next month it'll be in the update. Either way, compared to everything else, it was selling the best. I think they're selling about 6 per day. Again, that would be buy it now North America, so excluding auctions or other parts of the world. And I think considering where the 151 PCTB is, where the Obsidian Flames one is, Paldea Evolved, I think it's only a matter of time before these break into that 500-600 range. Again, that could be a year from now, it could be 5 years from now, a couple months from now, who knows, but it does seem like they're headed that way. Now, the other one I want to talk about is Destined Rivals, because when we look at days of inventory remaining based on the amount of boxes listed below 20% leg up and sales volume, Destined Rivals is actually in the best position. They're selling like somewhere between 4 and 5 per day, I believe, over the past month. And the one thing a lot of people don't realize about Destined Rivals PCTBs is that the promo card's actually quite expensive. If we look at the Wobbuffet right now, it's about $158. If we look at the Eevee from Prismatic, it's only about $100. And obviously the Snorlax is the most expensive currently, around $250, $260. But you'd think the Wobbuffet would be a little bit cheaper. Now, the reason why this is a very expensive card, I think, is one, there's probably a few less boxes out there compared to something like Prismatic. That would just be my guess based on the PCTBs for Prismatic being restocked a couple times, whether that was in North America or other parts of the world. But also, when you look at the PCTB, or excuse me, the promo card rather, in a PSA 10, it's going for about $1,500 currently. And there's only about 4 listings on eBay North America, one of which is coming directly from PSA and the PSA Vault. And you can see here, if you look at the pop report, you have about 173 tens, and the total pop is 813 currently. So that's giving you about a 21% gem rate, which is very low. So it's kind of like the Charmander situation from Obsidian Flames, which I think is even lower, like maybe 15, 16%. I could be wrong about that, but it's a very low gem rate. So these in a PSA 10 are very expensive, and that is going to play a role in the future when it comes to the sealed box price. So I think, considering that these boxes are only $370 currently, the PSA 10s are going for like $1,500, $1,600 fairly consistently. It's only a matter of time as well before we see these Destined Rivals PCTBs move up in price. Now, that's really all I wanted to say about the PCTBs today. But before we get into looking at some of the top special illustration rares, I did want to jump in here and give a shout out to today's video sponsor, the Shiny app. Shiny is a mobile app that helps you track your Pokemon collection investments, whether that's in English, Japanese, or simplified Chinese. They cover other games as well, including One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic, Disney Lorcana, Sorcery, Gundam, and now Riftbound. In my opinion, they have the best user experience out there. They're trying to update their data more frequently than their competitors. And also, you can join their Discord and leave recommendations for them if there are things that you want them to improve in the app. So they're actively trying to give you guys a better product. And the best part about Shiny is that it's absolutely free. So I'll leave links to the Google Play and App Store in the description and pin comment down below. And thank you again to Shiny for sponsoring the video. Now, when it comes to special illustration rares over the past month, Most of them were up. I think two of the four cards that were down in the top 20 were the Charizards from 151 and Paldean Fades. I think the Bubble Mew was down 1%, and then there was one more card that was moving downwards, but a lot of them were in the green. The top card obviously being the Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX, up around 36% over the past month. It does seem like the Mewtwo is starting to balance out in like the 580 to 600 range, but you do still have sales all over the place. For example, yesterday we had a sale up to $690, but also another one at $505. So it definitely averages out, but there is still a decent amount of volatility in card price for this when we're looking at recent sales. Now, moving on, the Zekrom EX, this might be surprising for some people, up around 15% over the past month, which normally for these new sets that come out, generally the top cards tend to come down in price over the first few months, but that's sort of changing over the past year, at least for some of the more popular cards. This is now up to around $250. If we come in here and look at recent sales, a lot of them are in that $240 to $250 range. A sale on the 14th up to almost $300. I love this artwork. I think it's awesome. And cards like this are definitely the reason why I think Black Bolt is a little undervalued and underrated currently. Now, a lot of other cards making moves up, the Evolutions from Prismatic. This shouldn't be a surprise to a lot of people. I think after the Prismatic reprints, we got a lot of stock out there. A lot of these cards did bottom out. The Espeon was around $200. The Glaceon, which is up around 8%, was down to around, what, 170. And then outside of the top 20, because I think Glaceon was ranked 20th, Espeon was 17th or 18th, 16th, something like that. We also have the Flareon, which is up around 3% on the month, 3-month chart though. It did level out around 160s, and we're jumping back up into the 170s. Jolteon, I mean, this is up 9%. This got all the way down to, I think, like $148, $147. We're now sitting around 165. And I'm curious if recent sales, yeah, getting close to 170 on a couple of these, even above 170. So keep an eye on the Jolteon. And outside the evolutions, there are a couple more cards I want to bring your attention to. The first being the Team Rocket's Moltres EX, up around 9% on the month. This got all the way up to around 166. Now we're sitting around 156, but still a decent move. Recent sales, however, though, are in like the 145-ish range, so maybe this is on the way down. Lily's Determination, this is from Mega Evolution. I did want to put a couple supporter cards in there. These are obviously not in the top 20 special illustration rares, but this is currently the most expensive supporter special illustration rare that we have out there, sitting around 160, 165 bucks. Got down to the mid 150s back in early October, but it has been moving up slowly since then. Now, outside the Lily, we do have a couple more supporter cards. The Perrin is number 2 in terms of price currently for supporter special illustration rares. It's up 3% on the month, sitting around $96. I do love this artwork just because it is connected with the Hisuian Growlithe, which you can see in the camera on this image. So I think that's awesome. And then the third most expensive currently is End's Plan, again from Black Bolt, which is another strong card that just makes Black Bolt, in my opinion, a lot better of an investment compared to White Flare, because you can be picking them up for about the same price currently. And I think just looking at the cards in Black Bolt, it's better than White Flare. I don't think that's much of an argument. Either way, this card is around $80 currently. It was up to, I think, like what, 83, 84 at its high. Now sitting around 80, fairly consistently in that range. You do have some lower sales, one from yesterday around 70, but some as high as like what, $82, $83 still from over the past week. I know I also didn't bring them up, but we did have 3 cards from Mega Evolutions in the top 20 in terms of SIRs. Both the Gardevoir and Lucario SIRs were up there, I think in like the top 7 or 8. And then also the Mega Venusaur was, I think, like top 15 or something. So there are definitely some expensive cards coming out of that set, and that's excluding the gold cards, which are worth a pretty penny as well. But that's really all I wanted to talk about in this video. If you guys got some value out of this, I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below for the algorithm. It helps out a ton. With all that said, thank you so much for watching the video. Go check out Shiny, links in the description down below. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.